Now we're talking about converting decimals to fractions. Both decimals and fractions name parts of a whole. The difference is that in a decimal, the place value tells you into how many parts a whole is divided. For example, here on my place value chart, I see my tenths place, my hundredths place, my thousandths place, and if you'll notice, when we go to the right of the decimal point, we are simply looking at our place value chart in the opposite direction where I have 10 but with the THS, 100 with the THS, 1,000 with the THS. So that is telling me a part of the whole. And so I would read this as a 6, and it's in the tenths place, so I say 6 tenths. Whereas in a fraction, the denominator tells you into how many parts a whole is divided. And in this case, I'm looking at a hundreds chart, and of course we know that each column has 10, and so I have 6 columns. So I have 6 out of the 10, or 6 tenths. So converting the decimals to fractions is really quite simple. The first thing we do is we read the decimal. And in this case I have 68 hundredths. And then in word form it is 68 hundredths because the 6 is in the tenths place and the 8 is in the hundredths place. So we say the value of the digit that is farthest to the right. And then the last step is we simply write what we say as a fraction. So if I were reading 68 hundredths, I would write the number 68, and then my fraction bar, and then hundredths tells me that my denominator is 100. So I have 68 hundredths. So let's convert these decimals to fractions. And remember, we are going to simply write what we read. So my first one is 91 hundredths. So I know my 91 is the numerator. And I said hundredths because the 1 went into the hundredths place. So I have 91 hundredths. Right beside it, I have an 8, and it falls into the tenths place. So I would read it 8 tenths. So I write 8 and the tenths. Next I have 3 tenths. I would write the 3, and it went into the tenths place, so my denominator is a 10. 73, it goes into the hundredths. There are 2 digits. When it goes into the hundredths, so I would write 73, and my denominator is 100. Next I have 67 hundredths. I have 67 as the numerator, and my denominator is 100. Next, 6 tenths. 6, my denominator is a 10. Next, 23 hundredths. 23 hundredths. And finally, I have 48 hundredths. So I have 48 hundredths.